chapter 3. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days. There was no frequent vision. And it came to pass at that time, when Eli was laid down in his place, now his eyes had begun to wax dim, that he could not see, and the lamp of God was not yet gone out. And Samuel was laid down to sleep in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was. That the Lord called Samuel, and he said, Here am I. And he ran unto Eli, and said, Here am I, for you didst call me. And he said, I called not, lie down again. And he went and lay down. And the Lord called yet again Samuel. And Samuel arose and went to Eli, and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And he answered, I called not, my son, lie down again. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed unto him. And the Lord called Samuel again the third time. And he arose and went to Eli, and said, Here am I, for you did call me. And Eli perceived that the Lord was calling the child. Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go, lie down, and it shall be, if you be called, that you shalt say, Speak, Lord, for your servant heareth. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. And the Lord came and stood, and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel said, Speak, for your servant heareth. And the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of every one that hears it shall tingle. In that day I will perform against Eli and all that I have spoken concerning his house, from the beginning even to the end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever, for the iniquity, and that he knew that his sons did bring a curse upon themselves, and he rebuked them not. And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli, that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be expiated with sacrifice nor offering forever. And Samuel lay until the morning, and opened the doors of the house of the Lord. And Samuel feared to tell Eli the vision. Then Eli called Samuel, and said, Samuel, my son. And he said, Here am I. And he said, What is this thing that he hath spoken unto you? I pray you, hide it not from me. God do so to you, and more also, if you hide anything from me of all the things that he spoke unto you. And Samuel told him all the words, and he hid nothing from him. And he said, It is the Lord, let him do what seemeth him good. And Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and did let none of his words fall to the ground. And all Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord. And the Lord appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. Okay, let's go back to verse 1. We'll remember from yesterday that a man of God had come to Eli and prophesied unto him these things, that it was going to come to pass because of what he had done, how he had allowed his sons to treat the children of Israel. Verse 1, And the child of Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days. There was no frequent vision. So Samuel, this one who hears God, is ministering before Eli, this one who ascends. And what this means is he's ministering unto him under his guidance. He's teaching him how to do these things unto God, for God, serve God in the house. And in those days, there was no frequent vision, so God wasn't coming and appearing to the children of Eli, to Eli. God wasn't appearing to Eli or any of the other priests in Israel, and Israel was probably sinning, and it wasn't clean enough for God to come and be a part of it, too. And it came to pass at that time, when Eli was laid down in his place. Now his eyes had begun to wax dim, that he could not see. So he's laid down, and he's almost asleep, and the lamp of God, verse 3, was not yet gone out. And Samuel was laid down to sleep in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was. And so we find that Samuel, he's got his place too there in the temple. And this Eli probably had his little quarter there in the temple too, where he was the priest, and he would minister before God, and he would be the one who would light the lamp in the morning and get everything going and make sure everything is in order according to the way God said it should be prepared. Verse 4, and the Lord called Samuel, and he said, Here am I. So Samuel's laying there just about to sleep, him and Eli, and the Lord calls Samuel, and Samuel says, Here am I. And he ran unto Eli and said, Here am I, for you did call me. And he said, I called not, lie down again. And he went and lay down. So Samuel has heard God call, and he thinks it's Eli. So he jumps up and runs to Eli, and Eli says, I didn't call you, son, go lay back down. 6, and the Lord called yet again Samuel. And Samuel rose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for you did call me. And he answered, and he said, I called not, my son, lie down again. So once again, Samuel has heard God call, and he's jumped up and run to Eli, and Eli says, No, son, I didn't call you. Go lay back down. 7. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed unto him. Because Samuel's a young man, we don't know exactly how old Samuel is, but we know he's still a young boy. His mother's had 5 children, so we know he's at least that much older than he was. And the word called Samuel again the 3rd time, and he arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for you did call me. And Eli perceived that the Lord was calling the child. So the 3rd time now Samuel has heard God call, and he's jumped up and run to Eli. Eli's figured it out now. He says that it's God that's calling this young boy. And he tells him in verse 9, Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go lie down, and it shall be, if you be called, that you shall say, Speak, Lord, for your servant hears. So Samuel went, and he lay down in his place. 10, and the Lord came, and stood, and called, as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel said, Speak, for your servant hears. And we'll notice here, now this is the 4th time God has come. This is the 4th time God's come and called Samuel. This is for the work. This is going to be the work of God. 11, and the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of every one that hears, it shall tingle. And this would be prophesied in the end, that once this word of God is revealed, it shall not only tingle, it shall be a terror. Verse 12, In that day I will perform against Eli all that I have spoken concerning his house from the beginning unto the end. God saying, I've done told Eli, this one who ascends, what's going to happen to him. And because he knowed that his sons were sinning, and he knew that they was bringing evil against the house of Israel, and he did not rebuke them for this. 13, For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity, and that he knew that his sons did bring a curse upon themselves, and he rebuked them not. So we'll find out this is exactly why this man of God come to Eli and told him these things, because you have known your sons, your children have sinned, and you have rebuked them not. And therefore I have sworn, verse 14, unto the house of Eli, that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be expiated with sacrifice nor offering forever. And this expiated means that it won't be purged away, it won't be done away with sacrifice nor offering. There's no amount of sacrifices nor offerings that can purge this away. And that's why destroy his 2 sons' house, and he's going to cut off the seed of Eli or Eli. And Samuel lay until the morning, and opened the doors of the house of the Lord. And Samuel feared to tell Eli the vision. So Samuel's woke up. God's told him now that what he's going to do to Eli's house. He's going to punish him just like he told him he would. So this is the 2nd time now the word's going to come to Eli by God, once through the prophet, now through Samuel. And this is going to be a witness to him that both his sons, like he said, it's going to die. 17, and he said, What is this thing that he hath spoken unto you? I pray you, hide it not from me. God do so to you, and more also, if you hide anything from me of all the things that he spoke unto you. So Eli's come to Samuel, and he said, Samuel, tell me what God's told you, son. Don't hide nothing from me, or God's going to do whatever he said to you, and more as well. 18, and Samuel told him all the words, and he hid nothing from him. And he said, It is the Lord, let him do what seemeth him good. And Eli has said, yes, well, this is what God said, and whatever seemeth right to God, let him do. 19, and Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and did let none of his words fall to the ground. So we'll see that God has begun to prosper Samuel. God has begun to bless Samuel. God's begun to speak with Samuel. And when Samuel speaks, he holds up. The Lord's good to hold up his word and make it come to pass that none of them fall to the ground. And this basically means that his words would come to pass, and he would become like a prophet unto the children of Israel. And all Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord. And basically, this means Dan on the north side of Naphtali, not Dan between Judah and Ephraim there, but Dan up on the north, this small land of Laish we've learned about, where Dan went up there and conquered and set up their idol of Micah. It's still in place up there. Now we got Samuel, and he's come in to the temple, and Eli's taught him how to serve God. And Samuel's an Ephraimite. He is not a Levite. And technically, by the law, he's not allowed to minister before God. But God is prospering Samuel, we'll notice, in this, even that Eli has broken the law, and God is using Samuel to bring a judgment against the house of Eli for what they have done. 21, and the Lord appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. And once again, God has appeared in Shiloh, this place of rest. For the Lord's revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh, and Samuel, this one that hears, in Shiloh, this place of rest, by the word of the Lord. Now we'll notice here, the word of the Lord has revealed the Lord unto Samuel, and because that's how God reveals himself to everybody, through the word, through the law. And through the law, he has established his covenant, that you obey his 10 commandments, you obey his law, and go by them, that he might bless you. And when you don't, that he might curse you. And we'll see here, this is what is beginning to happen now. The curses are unfolding upon Israel that was spoke of in Deuteronomy, because they've turned from God. See, they've turned away from God. Even to the priest's office, the priest, and Eli, knowing his sons are doing these things wrong, has not rebuked them. He's not done nothing about it, because they're just making themselves fat off the offerings, and they really don't care if anybody keeps the law or not, as long as you bring in all the sweet offerings and everything that's been brought in. And this will be why they're being punished. And the judgment is fairly simple. God sends in, and he takes their house over by an outsider, this one who will hear God, and thereby judging their house by this. Okay, we're going to move on to chapter 4.